Way back in time, people would have killed to have Phil Spector produce their music. Luckily for the Beatles, all they had to do was sign Spector's wife, Veronica Yvette Greenfield, aka Ronnie Spector, to their label, Apple Records. Quote, Phil wants a hit record with Ronnie again more than anything in the world. I think he'd give up all his worldly possessions for that, said Spector biographer Paul Case. In 1971, the time had come to make a comeback for Ronnie, and helping her to make that comeback was the God-loving lyricism of George Harrison, who co-produced alongside a heavily intoxicated Spector. Quote, we only did 4 or 5 tracks before Phil fell over, said Harrison. Of the 4 or 5 tracks, one was chosen as the A-side for the single, a leftover from Harrison's third studio album, 1970's All Things Must Pass. The track had initially been composed on an organ by Harrison, but due to a lack of training on keys, the former Beatles struggled to bring the piece to life. Friend and musician Klaus Wurman took over the left-hand arrangement on the organ, and the song came to sound like Harrison had envisioned. Quote, the song itself, I think, is really good. It's so simple yet so complicated. It was the sort of thing I found myself playing over and over again, and being amazed by the simplicity of the movement of the bass lines, said Harrison. This may sound like too much George Harrison and Phil Spector talk, and not enough Ronnie Spector, but don't worry, this is true of the song itself, too. Quote, I'm not in it very much. It's like a movie where the star only appears now and then, said Ronnie. Despite a minor role in her own song, the Ronnie Spector single did release under her name and hit number 77 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 63 on the Canada RPM charts. This was not the rip-roaring success that anyone had hoped for. Still, Ronnie was positive about the record. Quote, I love the record. It's completely different for me. It's more of a music thing than vocal, said Ronnie. That positivity would come and go throughout the years. There may have been resentment towards Harrison for essentially taking the song back in 1973, where he re-recorded the vocals himself, but kept the instrumental arrangement from the Ronnie version and put it on his 4th studio album, Living in the Material World. Quote, religion? Drugs? Sex? I was mystified. And the more George sang, the more mystified I got, said Ronnie in 1990. Just 9 years later, she would name it as one of her 5 favorite recordings from her career. Did her opinion of the song change? Or did she just think fondly of the experience of watching Phil Spector drink 18 cherry brandies and fall over? Regardless of Ronnie's changing opinions, one British man had allegedly always held the song in high regard as one of his personal favorites. Originally scheduled to be covered in the early 70s on the cancelled sequel to his first cover album, David Bowie wouldn't give the world his take on the Beatles-Ronettes crossover until 2003, with the release of his final album of the early 2000s, Reality. So, we have 3 different big-name artists who have tried some version of this song. But is any version worth buying some? That's right, we're talking Ronnie Spector's Try Some, Buy Some on Cover Me. That's right, it's Cover Me, the only podcast that compares famous songs to their many cover versions to find out which one will die to get high. I'm your host, as always, The Snake, joined by my Big Fry co-host,
Alex Mildenberger.
Alex.
I am Fry.
You are Fry.
I am Fry.
Of Futurama fame.
Futurama fame, exactly. Also, I was just looking it up because I looked at the release date of this Ronnie Spector single because it came out in 71.
Yes.
And it was 1 month after last week's song, Cross-Eyed Mary, came out as a single.
Fascinating.
So that's fun.
That's interesting to think of those 2 songs as being on. I guess Cross-Eyed Mary didn't get radio play, though, did it?
Probably not. I mean, this didn't really get radio play.
Barely got radio play.
But, like, it didn't really do very well. It's Ronnie Spector and Phil Spector, so like my understanding of the relationship is basically he like helped make her career. Obviously, she's a very talented performer and important figure in like rock and roll. Don't get me wrong. In like popular
she's called
music.
the bad girl of rock and roll.
Yeah, and at the time that was like a big deal.
She's the Ronnie from Take Me Home Tonight.
Yeah, Be My Little Baby.
Yeah, from the song Be My Baby.
Yeah. But like then she married Phil Spector and like he kind of fridged her at that point. Like through threats and stuff, right? And he was like, "No, you're
Hmm.
you're my wife now," and like stopped supporting her career. And this was like half-ass support after the fact kind of thing. Obviously, he's
Yeah.
like drinking and passing out, so he clearly isn't that focused on it.
Yeah, and they had a
Um,
kid together, I assume, because
yeah,
she has a quote about how she was a mom in LA and was like losing her fucking mind.
right, right, right. Yeah. So anyway, the point is like at this point, she's not as successful as she was because she's
Hmm.
kind of been held back.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that like George Harrison gave her this song. Um,
Yeah, there's so much because there's so many biographers who write about this either
yeah,
from the George Harrison perspective, the Phil Spector, or like Ronnie Spector. So many big names in here. So you
right,
get all these people writing about it, all the people being like, "Why did George Harrison give her this song about God? Oh,
right,
she's from the Ronettes."
right. It is fun, and like I don't know, I feel like I know I've had this before where you like have these like ideas, and you're like, well, now I've learned this thing. Everyone knows, like this information
Yeah,
is
you're like,
available, so
everybody
everyone,
knows like
yeah,
that life is like this.
yeah, and you go through this personal journey, and it's hard to remember sometimes that like other people haven't.
Hmm.
And like get upset at them for not knowing. So I mean, obviously, there's like quotes about her saying like, "I didn't really get it," but
Yeah. And there's like
I went
reviews
along
of
with it.
that too. It's like it doesn't sound like Ronnie knows what she's saying about.
Yeah, but like, I mean, she's still a talented performer.
Yeah, she still puts in a great vocal performance. It's yeah, so this is one we've talked about on like off mic for a long time. It's like, oh, we should do
Yeah,
it for Bowie Me. And then it's like, oh, there's only one cover really, and it's David Bowie's cover,
yeah,
as well as the George Harrison version, which also has like a an alternate take, which is like half interesting.
yeah. It is. I couldn't find much information on that. Do you know if that was for the like Material World album or if it was because he wrote it for All Things Must Pass, which
Yeah.
was before this, and it just like ended up getting cut,
Hmm.
which is like wild because that's a triple album. So like,
Yeah, like how does anything get cut from a triple album?
yeah. Although I do like that era of like um solo Beatles, especially George Harrison, because he's like writing all these songs, and the Beatles are like you get like one or two per album, like, and he's just
Hmm.
like writing all this stuff. So now he leaves the Beatles and he has all this stuff.
Yeah, he
Um,
finally has space to do all of his own music,
yeah,
and he's got some heaters in there.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it is interesting. So I don't know when that alternate take was recorded, but we can
No,
talk about that later.
I couldn't find a date on it, but it like the alternate take. This thing seems to be it's almost like a Let It Be Naked thing, where it's like, what if Phil Spector didn't produce it?
Yeah, exactly. It is a little more like Beatlesy, or maybe
Hmm.
George Harrison-y.
Yeah,
But yeah.
but yeah. So this song I've known since whenever I bought the Reality album on CD.
Right, because that's what the cover is,
Hmm.
2003 or so, I think that one
Yes.
came out. Um, and yeah, it's one of the like Bowie covers at least that I was like kind of aware of but never really listened to, kind of like I Feel Free, which we
Mm.
talked about this past January.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one that I like picked up on the album when I was listening to it. I was like, "Whoa, this song's cool!" And then it's like, it sounds very David Bowie. Listening to it this week, it's so very obviously George Harrison. Like
Yeah,
it's
knowing that,
almost like
right?
parody of George Harrison. Like,
I'm trying to think of like my own background with this song. I didn't know the Ronnie Spector version existed. I only knew the
no,
George Harrison version for many years, and
mm,
like even then didn't know it that well. Like it's not the first George Harrison song you're gonna go to, though it is a very solid song.
it is. That's the thing is like, there's three big artists who take this on. I'm not sure anyone has like a perfect version of it.
Right. Or even like that much of a different take on it.
Yeah, I think there are. I think it comes down to vocals for a lot of it. We'll get into
Yeah.
this in more details, but I think it really does come down to their individual understandings of the lyrics.
Yeah.
And Bowie has a quote about it we'll get to, but like Ronnie Spector didn't know what the fuck the song was about. Fair
Right.
due. George
Yeah.
Harrison obviously knew what it was about because he
'Cause he
was in
wrote
love with
it.
God. He wrote it. And then David Bowie like gets it because he's a fucking an artist. He's a real art rock guy,
Right.
so
And like
very
has
like
had the time to think about it
yeah
and
to process
digest
it.
it and isn't like in a horrendous like home situation like drinking all the time.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the time and space and the lack of. I mean, not that he didn't have his own share of traumas,
Yeah.
but least in 2003, he was off drugs and he'd done a lot of the
Right.
work by
Yeah, he
that
had time
point.
to figure things out.
I would be curious to hear what the Pinups 2 version would have sounded like
Like if he had done it
if he had
in the
done Pinups
70s.
2, yeah, in the 70s.
Yeah, be very interesting.
Be very interesting. But David Bowie, I mean, this is all our shit. The Beatles, David Bowie.
I know.
It's
This is the fun intersection between all those things that we like to talk about for like long periods of
hmm
time that always seem to take the conversation away with them. And then, I mean, Ronnie Spector's a very interesting figure. I won't claim to know all that much about that era and like that kind of music, but obviously Phil Spector has this very significant influence on music as much as
hmm
he's like kind of a huge piece of shit. The way he made music was very influential and got picked up by a lot of people, including the Beatles and famously also the Beach Boys. And, everyone wanted Phil Spector for a long time
Yeah. And
because,
didn't he
yeah.
design the Grateful Dead's stage or played
Oh,
some part in it?
yeah. Did he work on that one? Probably.
I
I mean,
think because it was based on that like
or
wall
no,
of
well,
sound
it's called
philosophy.
the Wall of Sound, and he did the Wall of Sound.
Yeah.
Are they affiliated? Yeah,
Are
we.
they
I know we've talked about this, but now I
we've
don't
definitely talked
remember.
about it, but nonetheless, he's called like the first auteur music producer.
Right.
He's this big like ominous figure in pop music. Because there's no doubt he fucking knew what he was doing, but he also like very clearly was not mentally well and did not treat others well because of that.
Right. Right. And kind of went downhill later in life. But
hmm
yeah, I mean, he created this Wall of Sound thing that was like huge, and to this day is a big
To this
deal.
day,
Just
big
like
deal.
in like how music recordings get created.
But yeah, Ronnie Spector was such a big deal in the Ronettes
Mm-hmm.
that like the condition for Phil Spector was like you got to sign her onto the record label, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna do that. And then one of the, we sort of mentioned this off mic, but the amount of drama around this song involves John
Right.
Lennon, a drunk John Lennon and his friends crashing the studio while they're recording
It's
and being
great.
like, we're gonna play with Ronnie from the Ronettes.
John Lennon in
And so then
1970.
they make the B side to this single, which is called Tandoori Chicken.
Ah, yes, the tandoori chicken. Yeah, I didn't listen to the B side. Did you listen to the B side?
No, I didn't, but I should have because apparently Lennon's on keys on it. It's based on they were getting food for the studio and they were getting tandoori chicken, and so it's sort of like a bluesy rock like jam session that Phil Spector then has to rein in to keep control over the situation while he's 18 drinks
He's
deep.
18 drinks deep, and I mean, obviously they made the record. Like it
It
worked,
worked.
but like shouldn't have.
No, there's no way any of this should have worked. It's such a like a misguided project to be like we can resurrect because it relies so much on George Harrison and Phil Spector to resurrect Ronnie Spector rather than just being like, well, what made
Right.
Ronnie Spector so cool? Let's support that.
Right. No one's really listening to Ronnie in this. Like
hmm
it's I mean, I don't know how Georgian was approaching it, but I mean, I doubt Phil cared, and they're just like kind of pushing this on her, and then like some other drunk stars come in and do their own thing, and then now she has a single and a with a B-side, and
Yeah,
it's
with a
like
B
what
side.
even happened? Like
Yeah, so I can understand even like her mixed feelings on it over the years kind of being dispersed to us through quotes. It was like, it sounds like it would have been an incredible recording experience, whether it was good or not.
yeah.
Like, two of the Beatles are
It's a
there.
story, but like when you're in the middle of it, it's probably I mean, it's like being in a storm, It's a good story to tell, but like you're fearing for your life the whole time.
Yeah, and also you were in this drought of like not doing the one thing you love, and finally you're back in the studio. It's like,
And it's
thank
that.
God. Yeah, but then it's like, oh my fucking God, Phil Spector's going nuts. John Lennon's broken into the
John Lennon
studio.
showed up. And he could do that because he partially owns it, I think. 'Cause it would have been
Yes,
Apple
it would
Records.
have been Apple Records.
And it's the 70s and you're a woman, so you can't do anything about anything.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes.
And then beyond that, you have like big musical names on this. Klaus Wurman,
Yeah.
who of course was bassist for the Manfred Mann in the late 60s and
Mm,
also performed on You're So Vain by Carly Simon on Lou Reed's Transformer album.
big
Uh, we
name.
got the we got fucking at least one member of the Wrecking Crew is present. as
Yeah, I
well
saw
as
that, but now I can't find the the
Leon
credits.
Russell.
Leon Russell. Okay.
And then we have Gary Wright, best known for Dreamweaver.
Okay. Big names or
Big
future big
names.
names?
Yeah, and Derek and the Dominoes drummer, Jim Gordon.
Okay.
Like, there's big names just sitting in the studio here. So it is like it's all of the things are in place for this to be a hit, except for having a song that aligns with Ronnie Spector.
Right. Yeah, it is very interesting. And also interesting that I guess maybe it's just that combination of things.
Hmm.
But like we're gonna talk about the George Harrison version in a bit, and like they just reused the same track
They
because
just
it's
reused the
like
track.
clearly there's like some magic that happened,
Yeah.
but like it's chaotic
And
and
people,
yeah,
yeah, gush about the production on the Ronnie Spector version.
yeah,
They're like, it's incredible. It's one of Phil Spector's greatest works, and the fact that it wasn't, a commercial success really destroyed his mind. And
and it
it's like,
seems
well,
like maybe he was heading on that path
yeah,
already,
it
but
seems like he was all right.
hindsight.
Yeah, being what it is. But it's a great song. It's an interesting song. It's maybe flawed in all 3 to 4 of its executions, all
Hmm.
3.5 of its
Yeah,
executions. But I do like this song. Let's talk about these
let's
lyrics.
talk about these lyrics because there's not that many of them.
No, and it's
Yeah,
pretty straightforward for a George Harrison piece.
yeah,
Which I mean, you could probably apply this interpretation we're about to do to just about any solo George Harrison song because he gets big into religion. So it's like, what's this
he
song about?
does.
It's about how much he loves God.
Yeah,
And that's the same thing here. So the verse begins, way back in time, someone said, try some. I tried some. Now buy some. I bought some. Oh. After a while, when I had tried them, denied them, I opened my eyes and I saw you.
yeah, it really seems like I mean, really we have this verse and like it goes through the whole story more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the story like a song is like you'd work through it slower, right? A verse would be him
Yeah,
getting
we've
in,
got the
a verse
complete story.
exactly in like this one verse instead of like verse 1, I meet people, verse 2, I start drinking or whatever.
Yeah, I get disillusioned with drugs.
Yeah.
Verse
Verse
3, we have
3
the turnaround. Like,
exactly. Where this is like okay, someone offered him stuff, he did, he started buying it, like drugs presumably, right? Like
yeah.
or something like that. And then after a while he stopped. It's
Yes.
not like a dramatic story, he's just like stopped, and then of course I opened my eyes and I saw you. You could look at this as like a more straightforward love song, however
Hmm.
George Harrison, it's George Harrison, it does seem to be like it's about love for God basically.
Yeah, and that is a little more clear in the chorus, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think when I was hearing it from David Bowie, I was like, "Oh, okay, it's like about love in a more general
Yeah,
sense or a more
I
romantic
met you
sense."
and I turned my life around because you mean so much to me.
Hmm. But yeah, even in this first verse, it's a very almost I Me Mine style Harrison writing, like this love of repetition and simplicity.
Yeah.
I tried some, now buy some, I bought some. Like all of the words are just being reused and we're just changing the tense and it's like, ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Tried. Now yeah. Then yeah.
Yeah, when I tried them, denied them, these like internal rhymes, it's like I'm bridging towards nursery rhyme almost, but it's
Yeah,
not.
kind of. Yeah, it's cool. And like I do like the simplicity and like just the fact that he's like, no, what we really need to focus on is how much I love God. And it's like, okay, so we don't really care that much about the story. There's some talk about like how it's like somewhat observational. Well, that's later on.
Yeah, we get
Um,
into his observations on the effects of drugs in
yeah.
verse 2, but right here it's just the personal experience. I tried drugs, did them for a while, and then it's when I stopped doing them that shit got really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I opened my eyes and I saw you chorus. Not a thing did I have, not a thing did I see till I called on your love and your love came to me. Oh, 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 oh.
Again, very simple.
Yes.
Very repetitive too. Not a thing, not a thing.
Hmm.
Didn't have anything, didn't see anything. This is that. I mean, I feel like I've kind of done this, but like, 2 years ago, I sure was naive, but now,
Now I
now
know.
I'm
And what's
totally
also a
different.
very religious thing, it's like, oh, I had never had anything worthwhile until I fucking came to God. I thought I was
True.
blind and now I can see. It's these
Yeah.
very religious coded lines.
Yeah. The imagery is like well trodden.
Yes.
And yeah, that called on your love, and it like came to me, right? Like if you let it in,
Yes.
it
All you
will.
have to do is ask
Exactly.
for the love of God and it will fill you. And it's like, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These are lines we've heard, and
Mm-hmm.
concepts within Christianity, which we were raised in, and George Harrison was raised in, and he is like still part of, but like he's got sort of that like Eastern, like he
Got a
went through
little
his
Hare
like,
Krishna.
yeah, which I don't know much about Hare Krishna, but like obviously the Beatles all went to India for their like transcendental meditation thing, so they're like kind of it like kind of factors in the like hippie spiritualism into this like
Yeah.
Christianity, which I think is not so uncommon.
He's definitely like a blend of his upbringing
Yeah.
and this Eastern religion that, of course, was huge to get into
Mm-hmm.
in the time period where George Harrison was traveling the world and being a Beatle,
Being a Beatle.
just being a Beatle. So yeah, it's just like textbook like spiritualism of that era, and very textbook George Harrison. But verse 2. Through my life, I've seen gray sky, met Big Fry, seen them die to get high. Oh, oh, oh. And when it seemed that I would always be lonely, I opened my eyes and I saw you.
Mm-hmm. He was saved. I really like. I mean, I know I've heard small fry, big fry. I mean, small
Mm-hmm.
fry usually.
Small fry you hear a lot. Usually don't hear big fry.
Right, but like you call someone a small fry, but also like if you have like it's fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's literally just fish. You would say small fry. You wouldn't say small fries,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I don't know. You don't hear big fry very often. So just for some reason, hearing big fry to be plural to
Yeah.
me, I don't know. I
Yeah, there
something
is
about
almost
that
like a
resonates, and it's just unusual. Yeah.
yeah, it's this like oversimplicity of grammar or something. Like there is again like a sing-song nature to this that is very George Harrison.
Yeah, it does feel like it has like a subtraction, like they
Mm-hmm.
managed to strip everything away other than what was necessary, because the words are very minimal, but it still does get the point
Yeah, it
across.
tells you everything. I've met some of the greatest, most amazing people. I've met Big Fry, and I've watched them kill themselves trying to get high.
Yeah, but also like gray sky, like he's talking about kind of contrasting it with now where he's got sunny skies, right? So like he's
Right.
just kind of listing things and like to get through it fast. Those are just two things that are associated because they were around the same time, but he's kind of like meets them under the gray skies.
Yeah, being gray skies, I guess, being just a general like malaise or melancholy,
Yeah.
like a non-positivity.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously they're doing horrendous things to get high, which he's now left behind and is like kind of justifying it.
Yeah, and saying that this is what sort of separated from the pack. So he's like, we were all under the same gray sky when I met these Big Fries.
Mm-hmm.
They started doing this one thing, and I was like, oh, that's not my thing. It seems like I'm just gonna be alone then. Like I have to. This is my people. Because I'm also a Big Fry. I'm George Harrison, but I'm just going to be alone in a group of people.
Yeah.
But then I turn to our Lord and Savior.
Yep. Which again, like he doesn't say that explicitly. We know
Yeah.
that, but like you can, as we said, read this song as just like a love song for a person who kind of saved him.
Yeah, it follows those same romance song roots that we've talked about. It's like life before was one thing, life with you is crazy and upside down and so exciting and beautiful, etc.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about like at least 8 songs this year
Yeah,
that we've
exactly.
said this exact same spiel. Or we're like, oh, it's like all these other songs.
Yeah, all the other songs where a person is what was it? Not that long ago, where it's like I didn't. Yeah, it was Sheriff, I think.
Oh yeah,
It's
when I'm
like,
with you.
yeah, when I'm with you, and like I didn't think that love mattered to me, and then I met you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go back as recently as 2 weeks ago, folks,
Yeah.
and you'll find.
It happens, but this is just like really distilled, and also not technically about that.
Yeah, it's about God.
Yeah.
Chorus 2, hey, just like Jethro Tull, we got a chorus that changes lyrics.
Yeah.
Not a thing did I feel, not a thing did I know, till I called on your love, and your love sure did grow.
Sure did
Oh, oh,
grow.
oh, oh, oh.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're mirroring the first part. The first chorus we're talking about didn't have anything, didn't see anything, but now like
Yeah,
didn't feel anything, didn't know anything, like didn't have that understanding.
yeah. I was numb and without knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
And then I called on your love, and oh my God, it grew bigger. And not only was it immense, but it's infinite, and it keeps getting bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like evolving. It's not.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the greatest thing, dude.
Yeah. There's an outro here,
Yes.
which kind of, won't you try some, babe? Won't you buy some?
Yeah.
Which obviously is mirroring kind of the beginning, the title line. Though I
Mhm.
almost wonder if now he's kind of referencing the fact that he's sort of the missionary and
I
he's
believe that's
selling.
exactly it.
Yeah, that seems to be what's happening.
Yeah, because he's now trying to sell you, and he calls you babe. He's like, "Won't you try this thing, the
Babe.
love of the Lord?"
Yeah, exactly. Spirituality
Yeah.
and belief, and I guess surrendering to a higher power or whatever.
Whatever, George Harrison.
I hear it's a powerful, effective thing to do.
Yeah, people love it. A bit of surrender. But yeah, that's the song. God is good. God is great. You should try God instead of drugs.
Yeah,
Sincerely, George Harrison.
sincerely, George Harrison. Signed, GH.
Signed, GH. Yes.
Right, but
What does it
first,
sound?
yeah, the sounds of it. So obviously we've got like the wall of sound thing going on. It can be difficult to parse different parts out of it, and there's some interesting effects going on. Like, so it starts with the like descending keys. It's very harpsichord type sound, but I don't think it doesn't seem to be a harpsichord.
No.
Because it's going to get used again in the George Harrison version, and he just changes the mix, and it sounds
Yes.
just like a standard piano, but it's the same track as far as I can tell.
As far as I understand,
So
yeah.
it just sounds like a harpsichord, but it's not.
Yeah, it's just, I guess it's like a lo-fi piano or something.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
It's just like the effects make it sound really like trebly and sharp. Which we'll get back to that. And of course, Ronnie starts singing right from the start. We're jumping
Yes.
right into it, and she sounds good, man.
Yeah.
She sings well. Does she not understand it? I guess so. I'm trying to think of like what the hallmarks of that are. What about her performance suggests that?
I think I can tell it comparatively between her and, say, George Harrison.
Right.
Who, like, really is like, he knows it. She's singing it, and she's singing well because she's Ronnie Spector. But it's the difference of, like, it's that very little small difference of understanding it.
Right. Like it's subtle and it's hard to define.
Yeah, I would say. So, like, and that's why, like, this is still hit number 77 on the
Yeah,
Billboard
still Hot 100.
Like, it was a failure, quote unquote, by being one of the 100 most popular songs for at least a week.
Exactly. Well, I mean, this was the 70s, so there weren't as many songs.
That's true. There was only 101.
Yeah. But still, 77. It did like okay, but I guess she had done so much better in the past.
You know what? Here's maybe where you can tell that she doesn't know it. And this is maybe a stretch of the imagination, but like 25 seconds in when we get into the ooh-hoo-hoo-hoos, that's where we sell not words, but emotions, right?
Sure.
And so what is she telling us with those oohs? I'm not sure.
Right, compared to the sort of like almost like a whine from George Harrison. The like, yeah,
and even from David Bowie, he's got a very clear like melancholy or like dreaminess to it that are like, oh, okay, like there's something here.
Makes a little more
he
sense.
gets it. He knows why he's oohing.
He knows
this
why
is
he's
like
doing.
This is like the reverse cover problem we have, where usually a cover does the ad libs and doesn't understand why they're doing it.
Right. But it's kind of the opposite here.
Yeah, here on the original, Ronnie doesn't know why she's singing the way she's singing, but she is singing that way.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. What else happens here? Yeah, okay. Not much. There's a drum fill halfway through the verse, but it doesn't actually lead to much. Most of the like build here is like swell from strings and brass, which of course are very like stuck together because of the like wall of sound thing.
The big sell is those mandolins after the drum fill, though.
Yeah, which I was looking at the credits and I was like, that sounds like a mandolin, but who's playing it? And like, there's no mandolin in the credits I was looking at. Maybe I was looking at the wrong ones. It's just guitar, but it's mandolin. Like other
It is
things reference the
mandolin.
fact that it's a mandolin.
And it in fact inspired John Lennon to put very similar mandolins in Xmas, War Is
Yeah,
Over.
there's like a couple songs it lists that
Yeah.
that then like Number 9 Dream was also inspired by this song, I
That's
think.
right.
So like it's interesting. The Beatles continued to influence each other even after they weren't recording together.
And like of all of the instrumentation in the song, the mandolins are a runaway success.
Yeah, it's got that real like pastoral European countryside sound to it, kind of.
Yes.
Like it gives it, yeah, I don't know. Like you're sitting on the side at a diner, side of the street at a diner, and there's guy playing music, and you're in France, and you're drinking coffee or
Yeah.
something.
It's like, somewhere between Lady and the Tramp and like a European vacation.
Exactly. Kind of gives it that sound, which is, I mean, it's a real sense of place, you know? And I guess drinking coffee in the morning is kind of can be a reflective time.
For sure.
Or in the evening, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's just, there's like an uplift to it. There's that, the way the notes go, like it puts you in a location, and that's pretty good.
And of course, like kind of a bit of organ sound in the background. Maybe it's just strings, wall of sound. But you get the good like smaller swell around this part, and just kind of the drone filling the space.
And like so much focus on it's even in the verse too, this down walk on the rhythm section. And it like loops. They talk about the circular nature of this, and it is like the steps in Super Mario 64 if you don't have enough stars. You just keep getting looped on. Oh yeah, and they do rise in intensity, those ones.
Yeah, forever. It's that like
Forever.
It's like a musical what's it called? Illusion kind of thing.
Yeah.
Audio illusion.
Audio illusion. Love it.
Yeah, after that chorus, there's kind of an instrumental section around a minute in where like there's like a lot of swelling from the strings right at the end of the chorus, and then it kind of keeps going and like introduces some brass as well. It's part of the swell. It never really like breaks out and gets harsh or anything. It kind of sounds like every sound ever made is being combined here.
Yeah.
In like this very nice, pleasant way.
Yeah, these big, like very soft, it feels very orchestral.
Yep.
There is sort of a classic like Beatles sound to it. Like when the Beatles would play with orchestra, we have that same sort of like roundness of tone in the orchestra.
Even the way there's like a bass or cello like lower end going like ba 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 ba, like that kind of gives me a bit of that vibe as well. I don't know why exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. There was something very, and it's because it's by at least 1/4 of the Beatles plus one of their later producers, Phil Spector. But like it has a lot of that tone.
It does, and I guess it's also like this is their studio, so some of that sound probably comes from that too.
That's true.
And that goes on for a little while, and then kind of that fast strumming returns, and leads us into another verse.
That's right, because we get the mandolins in about halfway on the second verse.
Yeah. As of course we get back to the keys as well. Bum, 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 bum. This one has a big swell at the midpoint, which is kind of implied in the first verse. I mentioned there's like a drum roll that doesn't actually lead to anything. This one, it leads to a big swell. And then of course, we still have that fast guitar strumming, and it drops out for the last couple lines, but comes back to the chorus. So I don't have a ton to say about this chorus. We're back to that street music sound.
Yeah, the chorus is pretty much the same. Like, my next big note is like 3 minutes. We get a big instrumental lift.
Yeah, there's like a couple big swells in the like instrumental section following that chorus. A lot of it is instrumental, like you said. Like Ronnie Spector's there, but a lot of it is all production and the arrangement, which is nice, and it has like a very grand feeling to it. It is supporting the idea of like this is a religious experience.
Yeah, the instruments believe.
Yeah, Um, but yeah, maybe Ronnie's not quite there though.
Yeah, and even on this outro too, I'm not sure she knows what she means when she's saying, "Won't you try some? Won't you buy some?"
Won't you try some? Won't you buy some? Yeah, yeah. It's
She
tough to
sounds
know.
good
She
though.
does. She still sounds good. She's still Ronnie Spector, you know?
Hmm.
Veronica Bennett, if you will.
I
She didn't
will.
go as Bennett at this time. But she is the
But
bad
yeah,
girl of rock and roll. So
she is the bad girl of rock and roll.
I mean that's like that's the version. Is there any big things we're missing? You know, it's a really nice arrangement. It did make me realize I didn't know the song that well.
Oh yeah.
And then I mean, good like Wall of Sound sounds.
Yeah, it's truly I'd only ever listened to the David Bowie version until this week.
Okay.
And so it was very interesting to come back to Bowie's after being like subjected to the wall of sound for 2 to 3 versions
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then be like, "Oh, we're much more synthetic on in 2003."
Yeah,
And
very
there's
different sound.
some good, some bad to that. But we're going to get into the other versions of this after a short break.
Ho, ho, ho. Ho, 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 ho.
We're back talking covers of Try Some Buy Some starting in the year 1973. We'll just kind of lump in both George Harrison versions here.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, realistically, I mean, it sounds like basically they were trying to do it and then they were just like, whatever, we'll use the same the same track. The same mix, not the same mix, different
Yeah,
mix.
same instruments, different mix.
It's not that different. You know that it's a little different. Like we already talked about, like the piano sounds a lot like a harpsichord in the original. In this one, you get more piano from it.
Yeah, it's softened a bit.
Yeah.
The drums come through a little more in the mix at the start there for their roll to nothing.
Yeah, and it seems like almost there's more focus on George Harrison, you
Yeah.
know, and maybe that's just because the nature of the original was Ronnie Spector was there, but it seems like a lot of the process was the other guys, you know, so she ended up getting covered up in several ways. And now George
Yeah.
Harrison's doing his own thing. He's like, well, I'll just turn myself up a little bit.
Yeah, turn myself up and so you can get his religious message through cuz like
Yeah.
sure the production's great, but for George Harrison, he's writing this song to preach to us.
Yeah.
And if you don't hear the words, you can't get the preaching.
Nope. And you can hear his words for sure. But yeah, what else? I mean, he's George Harrison singing, you know. He sounds like George Harrison. He's almost has like a languidity to his voice where like things
Mhm.
slur a bit and like when he goes between notes, you can really hear him like move, like slide into the note.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I'm trying to think of exactly what's it almost feels like surrender, you know, which is kind of part of
Yeah, like
the
he's
song.
blissed out. So
Yeah.
like he's just like and maybe trying to do some of that like just like long almost drones. It's like what if the voice never stops and we just like shape words around
Keeps
it?
holding, yeah,
Yeah.
the notes. So that's kind of the sound of his voice there. Um and yeah, I'm trying to think of like do I prefer one mix over the other? I don't know, man. They sound pretty similar. I'm more used to
They-
the George Harrison one. I would
mm.
probably pick that one just because it's the one I know. I'm more familiar. But
It's yeah,
yeah.
I think it really comes down to what the mixes do, whereas the original kind of covers and obscures Ronnie Spector and
Right.
takes over. And you really get to see all of these pros shine as they play their fucking parts.
Mhm.
Whereas this one all supports our language, George Harrison, and adds to the dreamy effect. So I think in terms of what one works better on the whole, the George Harrison one mix does.
Right.
But in which version do the instruments sound better? Or more interesting? It might be the Ronnie Spector version.
I would concede that, but just cuz like I always think of it as harpsichord.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was actually surprised it didn't sound that way in the George Harrison one. I had to like go back and adjust my notes, realizing it was not a harpsichord.
Yeah. And I kind of like the lo-fi-ness of that not harpsichord on the Ronnie Spector version.
Yeah, it's a cool sound.
It's a cool sound, and it plays nicely on a song that also has mandolin on it. Like
Yeah, they both have
they
that
go
like
together very
those like
nice.
high frequencies.
Yeah, very plucky instruments.
Yeah. Did I have anything else to note? Yeah, there's a note from George Harrison. He transposed this up
Hmm.
for Ronnie Spector because it was more natural
Yes.
for her, and because he used the same track, he had to sing it up, and he's like, it's a little higher than I might have liked. So
Yeah,
he
I
is
did
kind of
see
pushing
that.
in like his higher range, and even like while driving, singing along to this, could notice I could sing along to the David Bowie version much more easily
Mm.
than the other ones, just because they're so high.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. I think he does pretty okay for being in an uncomfortable
He
range.
does a good job, and he does sing kind of high. Like even singing his
Hmm.
stuff with the Beatles can be a bit of a stretch, certainly for me.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's he said it's just like more less comfortable for him though. He does
Yeah,
fine
for
on the
sure.
track. I think maybe playing it live, he would transpose it
Would like
down. Though I
transpose it
never
down,
spoke
yeah.
to him about it. It's also interesting because like the Beatles weren't great. Like they didn't have much formal music knowledge. So like, would George Harrison even like think to do that? You think he must, right? Transposing's pretty
Yeah,
basic, but
pretty basic. And with all the studio tricks they had done at this point, like I'm almost surprised he didn't just like slow the track down a bit to sort of forcibly transpose it.
yeah, yeah. I don't know how much you'd have to slow it down, but it
Yeah, I don't know. But
does seem like something that he might do. It's a very
yeah,
Beatlesy move.
it's a Beatles move. But also a Beatles move is having an alternate version of this with no clear origin.
Not a thing did I have, not a thing did I see.
Yes, alternate version with no clear origin. Wonderful. How do you feel about this one?
I have mixed feelings because I think there's a much more Beatlesy tone to this with
Yes,
the because basically the move is we eliminate the mandolin and replace it with a very George Harrison guitar.
very George Harrison guitar. I don't think that guitar fits very well though. Like it seems like they abandoned this, and if they hadn't, they might have worked on that guitar track a bit to make it
Hmm.
fit a little better. Because to me, it doesn't sound like it's gelling with the rest of the track all that well.
It's like so Beatles toned, like
Yeah,
it almost mimics his voice in that same way, that very like drony, like a lot of sustain action on it.
yeah,
But I do like it. I like the guitar.
yeah. It's to me, it felt like it didn't fit as well. But also, I think this is more like "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," particularly on his vocal track. Sounds a little has a little more of that like because I'm trying to think of like the things George Harrison does. He kind of has that more like stretching out thing on the released version, and this one it's a
Hmm.
little more like held back, a little more staccato
Oh yeah.
in some ways. Anyway, but I agree, it sounds more Beatlesy.
Yeah, and I don't know, there's something charming to that. There's a guitar solo on this,
Hmm.
and it kind of solos on the outro as well. It is maybe too like bouncy or like too lighthearted for what feels like a more serious, dreamy version. It has almost too much pump, or like punch rather, on its attack.
Yeah, it does feel to me like if they had stuck with this arrangement, they would have worked on that a little more. Because it
Hmm.
is kind of one of those it's one of those things where it's tough to know because I'm so familiar with the like original, right? Or more familiar with the
Yeah.
original that it's like jarring to hear a new thing. So is that bad or is it different? Or
Well,
like do I
especially
actually
because
dislike it?
the different element is those mandolins are gone.
It's
This is the
true.
replacement for the mandolins, and those mandolins fucking
And
kill.
they're
They're
really
so
good.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you? Is it a good enough replacement for that? I don't know. It is different.
Hmm.
And that was especially listening to the same instrumental track twice and then be like, oh, here's something actually different. It's exciting. It's exciting for the brain to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like that I wonder if there's a version that could fit both, though, you know?
Yeah. Could it be
I also
in
think that, like,
2003?
it could be. I was going to say, though, I think, like,
Oh, okay.
having George Harrison express his love of God through a guitar solo is a worthy pursuit, is worth having on a track.
Yeah, that is a thing I would expect to happen more often than it does.
And maybe elevates this preaching song to being something a little more. We're putting a little more musicianship in. Not that the production side isn't musicianship, but it's, I want to get the unfiltered George Harrison brain. I want the twisted mind of George Harrison.
The twisted mind of George Harrison. Talking about
Telling me
love
about
of God.
Love of God.
He's twisted.
But yeah, it's twisted. It's sick. But is there a version that can do both, Alex? Well, let's jump to the year 2003 and talk about David Bowie.
Not a thing did I have. Not a thing did I see.
Yes, we're doing a David Bowie cover outside of Bowie Month, which is not the first time we've done this, but
Yeah, we're sickos. We're breaking all the
we
rules.
talk about David Bowie a lot.
A lot.
And this is, of course, a reality rather. A reality is the tour.
Yeah, a reality tour. I think you're a big live reality guy.
I really
more
like
so
a
than
reality tour, the CD.
the CD. Phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a great live
It's really
album.
great. I think there's like basically better versions of all the reality tracks that he plays. I do
Yeah,
think
they're fucking awesome.
better live.
And then better versions of like Loving the Alien and stuff on there too. It's a
really
great
good
album.
version. Oh wait, Bring Me the Disco King is off of this album. But anyway.
It is, in fact.
And is Never Get Old off this album too?
Yes.
Okay.
Reality's a good album.
It's a good album. It is a pretty good album. I mean, we
look
talked
over
about
it.
Pablo Picasso too.
Yes. Another cover.
Another cover.
But here we are. And then, so what David Bowie has to say of this song, he promoted this in an interview with Paul Denoyer of The Word. And he said that Harrison had, quote, a belief in some kind of system. Whereas his own experience, David Bowie's experience, was, quote, a daunting spiritual search. He then says, now my connection to the song is about leaving a way of life behind me and finding something new. It's overstated about most rock artists leaving drugs, but when I first heard the song in 74, I was yet to go through my heavy drug period. And now it's about the consolation of having kicked all that and turning your life around.
Yeah, I guess it's interesting to note that, like, George Harrison wrote this after he had, I mean, I don't know how heavy he really got into drugs, because it sounds like he kind of experimented for a bit and then was like, maybe not for me.
Yeah.
Though I don't really know his story all that well. And then Ronnie Spector, when she recorded it, was not really through her, like, heavy alcohol use period, so hadn't really experienced the other side of it yet.
Yeah.
So then the more successful versions are the ones where they're recorded by people who have gone through that already. So I guess it makes sense that Ronnie Spector wouldn't have that perspective in 1971.
For sure. And then the other half of that is not only going through the drug addiction and then getting clean, but then turning to God, which is what George Harrison did. What Bowie said is that he's still on a, quote, daunting spiritual search himself.
Right.
So, like, George Harrison's version has a conclusion. Bowie's version is a little more open-ended on that. And I think that resonates with me more personally, and I think it turns it into less of a preaching song.
Yeah, because he's not like decided on a thing. It's not a missionary. It's someone who's like, we're all on this journey.
Yeah,
finding our own answers.
It turns try some, buy some into less of a preacher move or drug seller move, more just like a philosophy. It's like, try it, buy it.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yeah, do different things.
Do different things. This is included on a list of the 20 great Spector covers by a man named Dave Thompson.
Oh, well, thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks for putting it on the list. This one, I'm going to talk about the sounds a little bit.
Yes.
They actually have a harpsichord sound on this one.
Yes.
And very fitting. Obviously, I wonder how much, obviously, like the Ronnie Spector one is the one where it sounds like a harpsichord. So is he referencing that? Probably.
I don't know, because then he said the first time he heard the song was 74.
Right, but this is like late. It's been enough time that surely he's had exposure to both, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, by the time he's heard this version for sure.
By 2003
sure.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to to note
No,
that.
yeah, that's worth pointing out. So we got the same basic elements. The harpsichord is now a
Hmm.
harpsichord. We've got some like synth bass in the back doing that dun 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 the walk down.
Right.
We got David Bowie sounding like David Bowie
We do
doing
have
some real
David Bowie.
classic.
Yeah, it might also be synthesizers, but there's still like, the string sound filling out the
Hmm.
space, doing the swells. There's at the
Yeah,
very least synth involved. I think there's maybe also real strings. I'm not sure.
for sure. There's real drums for
There's real
sure.
drums, definitely.
Get a good drum fill. That drum fill leads to then some guitar arpeggio.
Yes, there's more guitar present in this one. I do think this guitar fits the song a little better than the alternate
Yeah, and the
Harrison
sort of bouncy
version.
George Harrison one.
Yeah. Just I mean, it's a different it's a different enough mix, and it's a little more laid back, and that's more forward. They tried to like make it this like kind of bluesy licking guitar.
Hmm.
Whereas this is more rhythmic. Not exclusively, but it does feel like it's more of a supporting actor.
Yeah, then because
Yeah.
we still have the like mandolins,
Yep.
but they're like synth and maybe like 2 or 3 synths on there because we almost get that like warbling effect of the mandolin, but not quite.
Oh yeah, where it's like that fast strumming, but it's kind of more of a
Yeah,
warble.
or yeah, it's like it's one note is almost 3 notes because it's just played so quick.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of good sounds on this. There's also the second verse. There's like my timestamp is 133. This like lower cello that also made me think of the Beatles, which is makes sense.
Oh yeah,
Um, it's probably in the original, but it's like, oh, is that Eleanor Rigby?
oh yeah,
um,
yeah. There are just remnants of this like Beatles and Spector production just present because the cover is very faithful.
it is very faithful. Possibly, it's like one of the most faithful Bowie covers.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
interesting. Usually, he changes the song so much, and we've talked about enough of them that I think it's pretty obvious that what we think, which is he makes a lot of good, smart changes to songs when he's adapting them.
Yeah,
But for this
100%.
one, it seems like he's just much more into the arrangement, where like that's kind of what he's adapting, but wants to stick with it. So I don't know if, I mean, I would kind of think he has maybe more reverence for this song and isn't as willing to change it. But I guess it just depends on what you want to do with the song, right? How you see the song.
Yeah.
If he sees that as important to the song, of course he's not going to change it.
And I would say there is, as much as like the vocals are close, like because he does all of the OOs and that, it's very David Bowie-ified there. I feel like maybe that's where we get the biggest David Bowie spin, is that he's really doing his sort of like artsy vocal performances, especially like early 2000s. There's a bit of like, I think Heathen, he does a lot of similar like,
Right. This is his 9/11 song.
yeah.
Not really. But it is 2003. Yeah, and David Bowie famously kind of thought of himself, at least at first, as like an actor who was like acting at being a rock star, basically.
Mhm.
And is also an actor in movies and stuff, and like we know he can do that pretty well. So
Yeah.
he does that in his performances also, and can get that across.
Yeah, and also perhaps more heavily involved in drugs than George Harrison was.
That's my understanding. Like,
So
yeah,
yeah,
I mean, George Harrison isn't known as much of like a drug user as like John Lennon, you know.
yeah. My
Um,
understanding of George Harrison was always that he did drugs and discovered God through them,
yeah, he was like,
and
oh,
then
a little bit
stopped
of
doing
LSD.
drugs.
Oh, what's this?
Yeah, what's this?
Higher power?
Bring me a higher power.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a George Harrison song too. No, it's not.
But yeah, so then lines like I gray skies, met big fries, watched them die to get high. I feel like Bowie's maybe a little closer to that experience.
The Big Fry would like
The
see them
Big Fry,
die to
like,
get high kind of thing.
Seeing them die. Because like when in the Genius annotations for George Harrison, it was like, you're talking about John Lennon. I was like, well, John Lennon wasn't dead and
Right.
didn't die from alcohol abuse.
Yeah. Excuse me.
So for Bowie, who I think at this time is older than George Harrison ever was.
That is a good question. David Bowie would have been in his late 50s, mid to late 50s at this point.
George Harrison only ever lived to be 58. Okay, so maybe not.
So, yeah, he died in 2001 too. So he would have only been a few years older.
Sure, but he would have been older than George Harrison, who wrote and
Yes,
performed
certainly. Yeah, when he was
this
writing,
song.
absolutely. He's
Yeah.
had like a lifetime to think about this.
So I think a little bit of age adds a little bit to these lines that are like, damn, I've seen people come up and die around me.
Yeah, and he certainly had at that point. Also, I mean, it's not from drug use, but like that was after like shit. Damn it, his guitar player.
Oh,
Mick,
Mick Ronson?
Ronson. Yes,
Yeah,
Mick Ronson.
that's right, because this would have been post Black Tie, White Noise, which is their last performance together.
Yeah, after he passed away. So like, yeah, he's like lost people, not necessarily to drugs, but like he's got the experience, is what I'm trying to say. Which I'm just repeating what you said.
And even if you take the line "die to get high," if we pull it away from drugs for a minute, it's like we're all in pursuit of a high of some kind, and we will do damaging things to ourselves to attain that.
True. Yeah, getting high. I mean, we already kind of have the metaphor in the song of like the getting high alternative, which is like you're getting high off the love of God, or spirituality in some way. You could also, not too much of a stretch here to extend it to like success, like in showbiz. And
exactly, yeah. And so he's seen all these performers like push themselves and try to get high off the stage, bro.
I mean, another notable person that he would have been around is wow, names are not happening. T-Rex.
T-Rex. Oh, Mark Bolan. Yeah. And that early on in his career, too.
So,
yeah. So, yeah, I think Bowie has a little bit of personal connection to this that comes through in the vocals. And that's the Bowie change-up, maybe more so than any arrangements.
Yeah, I mean, the difference, it's not much different, which happens, Fill Your Heart was not that different from the original version.
That's true.
And
even a lot of stuff on pinups is just like, well, it's rock and roll of the 70s.
You're like, do the Bowie voice on it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Slow it down a little bit. Do the Bowie voice, and you're good. But yeah, it is a very like rich mix. It doesn't change that much. And what's interesting is how well like the original ones actually stand up against the more modern one. Like they sound like good enough that you're not like, oh, this is the super old one. This is a much newer one. Really, like you can kind of tell if you're listening for like synthesizer use and things like that, but they're really
if anything
solid.
You could accuse this of being maybe too synthetic.
Yeah, I guess so. It does have like a lot of kind of layers to it. You got the synthesizers, and then like I didn't check the personnel, but I assume like Jerry Leonard or someone like doing more layered guitar sound.
Yeah, it was co-produced by Tony Visconti, I'll tell you that.
Visconti's involved. Okay,
classic.
Now I'm looking for Reality.
But yeah, we go out on the outro. Won't you try some? Baby, won't you buy some? Sounds like David Bowie.
Yeah, doing David Bowie. It's like, later days David Bowie, so he's not doing the like really high stuff. But that's all good.
Yeah. We fade out on some Whoa Ho Ho Ho's. That's a classic.
Yeah.
But that's our covers this week. There's no music videos, no nothing, no bullshit, guys.
No.
Just straight up covers.
Yeah.
But we can actually break this down into two categories this week.
Oh, there are 4 different versions, which is almost as many as we do on a normal week.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's nature's returning. Nature's
yeah,
healing,
nature's
guys.
healing.
Buddy, we got 2 categories: best version and most religious version. Easy.
All right.
Hit me with it, Alex. What's the best version?
Best version. I mean, I think I still have to give it to George Harrison for best.
Oh, thank you, Alex.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate the award.
He's got it. He's got it set. He knows it. He knows the song, and like it's got that really classic track on it. I don't know what else to say.
What else can you say? I can say this for me. Maybe it's bias, but David Bowie. I think he sings the song the most correctly. Or perhaps the most palatably to me. I feel like he believes and understands what the words mean, and he manages to shift his own interpretation on it a bit.
he gives it a little bit more depth rather than, I mean,
Yeah.
the interesting thing to remember about the Beatles is how young they were when they were doing all this, right? So they're like,
Mm-hmm.
George Harrison's like almost 30 at this point, right?
Yeah, that's
Like
insane.
not quite, right? Like quite young. And yeah, David Bowie has a few decades of experience to add to the song for sure.
For sure. But Alex, what's the most religious version of this song?
I think I got to give that one to David Bowie only because his approach seems like he's he's more like, yeah, spirituality. It could be whatever. It could be all these different religions. Whereas George Harrison seems a little more specific to
Right, he's
his
right down
own
the
belief
line.
system. Where David Bowie's like, you try different things and then try other things.
Yeah, there's a more all-encompassing spirituality to the Bowie version.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to the Ronnie Spector version
Oh.
because I believe the recording experience itself must have been as close as you can get to a religious
Yeah,
experience.
and Ronnie Spector was probably praying for her life at some point.
Yeah, I
in the
imagine there were
process.
prayers said at some point.
Yeah.
And just what a time. What a strange time and place. And you're never closer to God than when you're in an absolutely bizarre place. And that's our final verdicts. If you got a different opinion, similar opinion, want to talk to us about a version we didn't talk about, hit us up on the app Blue Sky, at Snakey Me, at some Alex Wise Guy. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, suggestions for future episodes. You can also email those to us at covermepod@gmail.com. Talk to us there. Be sure to rate and review us. We're on every single app: YouTube, Amazon, Spotify, Stitcher. Doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It hasn't existed for 6 years, I think.
Oof.
And it just came out of my mouth like it. Oh, I'm never gonna get this right, man. Podurama, Pocket Cast, Podbean, we're everywhere. See if you can find us on Stitcher.
Yeah. You can.
Hunt down a former Stitcher employee and see what you can
See
get.
what they got for you. See if they have an old database to share with you.
Yeah, to share. You can get some classic Cover Me.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, like 3 episodes ago, we hit 400 episodes.
Hey, congratulations.
Congratulations to us.
400. Wow.
400 episodes.
Only 600 to go.
For folks at home, the 401st episode on your app is the actual 400th episode because one time I released a bonus segment separately from the episode because the episode itself was too
It was
long.
very long.
It's very long. And let me tell you this, the bonus episode stuff, not worth listening to.
Fair enough.
I've considered deleting it, but
Was it?
Yeah.
I'm seeing 403 episodes, but episode 499? What?
What do you mean, but episode 499?
Well, the episode on my app is listed as episode 499, but it also says there's only 403 episodes total. I don't know what to make of that. That's just my app being weird, probably.
That is your app being weird. So we have 403 episodes live right now?
Well, according to this.
I think Vienna was our 400th episode.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we do have 403
3,
lives.
2, 1.
So the last one to go live was yeah. Don't worry about it, folks.
And the number is just weird on my app for some reason.
Yeah, it's the end of June right now.
Yeah.
Okay, shut up.
Yeah, it's the end of June, right?
Tell your friends, families, neighbors, and loved ones about us. What you can do to get the word out this week is give people a sample of our podcast. I know that's something that you can just have them. I think I can make a trailer, but do it yourselves.
Yeah.
Pick out your favorite snippets. Have them try some, and then if they like it, force them to buy some.
Yeah, just try a little bit. Maybe put it in your DJ set.
Yes.
Use us as a sample.
Use this as a sample. Yeah, do us as like an interstitial between songs.
Yeah.
Make it happen, folks. Put us in your music. And that does it for today's episode of Cover Me. Well, as we always say on Cover Me, not a thing did I feel, not a thing did I know, till I called on Cover Me, and the podcast came to me.